Hey, this is Ryan Duffy. I'm a broker with Duffy Homes Realty, licensed in Arkansas and Missouri.
This is Marty Wilhite. I'm with Ryan's brokerage, and I'm licensed in Missouri and Arkansas as well.
We want to talk a little bit today about why Branson, Missouri, and the Southwest Missouri, North Arkansas market in general is a great place to invest. And first and foremost, you have to look at the geography and location and proximity to other big cities. So Branson, Missouri is located right here in the border of Arkansas and Missouri in Southwest Missouri. So we're really close to a bunch of major metro centers. We're just a few hours away from Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Fort Worth, about an 8-hour drive from Chicago, 4.5 hours from St. Louis, so on and so forth. The statistic we hear over and over again is that Branson, Missouri is within a one-day drive of half the U.S. population. So that's a really big driving factor for us here, is we're very much a driving destination. And as we all know, as economic times change, people don't stop going on vacation. They change the way they vacation. So a lot of times when money's tight, you may not throw the kids on a plane and fly to Florida. You might throw the kids in the car and drive to Branson. So when we say the Branson, Southwest Missouri, North Arkansas market, it actually is pretty big. So it goes from just north of Branson all the way around Table Rock Lake is kind of the hot spot. But then there's also a secondary market that's starting to pop up down here along the Buffalo National River. We can kind of dive into that here in a little bit. But first and foremost, and I think Marty can touch on this better than I can, having been here for 30 years. The visitorship numbers that we've gotten since the early 90s have steadily increased. Marty, what's been your take on being here throughout this time period and the ups and downs in the economy and what the market's done here?
It's actually it's been kind of neat. I've been here 30 years, a little over 30 years, and I've seen different economic trends up and down. See the gas prices go up, see them, come back down and level off, and everywhere in between. And you can see by the graph, there's no real big hits, there's no real big boosts. I can remember the first time the gas prices started soaring, and people around here were going, "Well, we're a driving destination, we're going to be crippled." Didn't happen. If anything, we increase a little bit because when that happens, airline tickets also go up because jet fuel goes up. So people that would normally fly for a vacation would say, well, let's drive to Branson. They're still going to vacation. It just changed the way they vacation, like Ryan mentioned earlier. So we never really saw any big hits, even when the economy is in a weaker, the recession areas that we've had. We've not seen a big hit here because people still are going to vacation. It's just maybe people that would be flying to a vacation or flying out of the country. Instead, they'll take their vacation, do the economic times, they'll save a little money and come to Branson. Or instead of maybe staying 7 or 10 days, they'll save 5 or 7 days. So yeah, it's kind of this thing. We're not bulletproof, but we're kind of in this anomaly little bubble to where the big spikes and the big, peaks, big depressions don't really affect us.
Yeah, that's reassuring. Just looking at this, this slow, steady increase over the last 30
Mhm.
years.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of markets, during and after COVID that just came out of nowhere that weren't vacation markets to begin with, and they became very popular. And then, now that we're starting to see over the last 6 months to a year, as interest rates are going up and things are starting to normalize in terms of, people's patterns, like those markets are kind of dissolving. So, Marty, who's coming here? Like, what's the demographic of visitor?
Well, there's a lot of people that come because it's family friendly for one thing. It's just is. There's been certain people that come here because they feel a religious and a patriotic tone and theme that's here. It's not overwhelming or overbearing, but those people that have those perspectives are very welcome and very comfortable here. People come for the lakes and all the outdoor things we've got going on. People come for the live music shows. We've got first class shopping and restaurants here in the area. We have museums, big water parks. There's a lot of things that attract people here. Quite a variety of tastes and vacationers that come here.
Yeah, that's something that we noticed. Shay and I vacationed here for 10 years before we decided to move here from Chicago. And for us, yeah, Branson's a great place, and there's a lot of stuff to do here. But we honestly never really went to Branson when we came to the area. We drove right past it and just went to the south end of Table Rock Lake. But now that we're here and we're raising our family here, I mean, it's really cool that we can drive into town and we've got these brand new museums and these brand new aquariums that have just popped up, and just a lot of the same, kind of, I don't want to say tourist traps. I mean, there are a lot of those here too, but a lot of the same attractions you'd see, in Panama City Beach or Sevierville in the Smokies, Wonderworks, Ripley's Believe It or Not. Dolly Parton has a presence here. So there's just a lot of cool stuff to do, any time of the year, indoors and out, which is really cool. Like I mentioned,
absolutely.
like I mentioned, this is what brought us here, was Table Rock Lake. It's gorgeous, and this is obviously a big economic draw to the area. I don't know, what do you say, 6 months a year, people are boating and swimming, and but really year round, it's a fishing destination too. It's also a scuba diving destination, and just a really pretty lake to be on. It's part of a Army Corps of Engineers chain of lakes that was built back in the 50s to generate electricity and control flooding in the area. And so one of the interesting things about owning lakefront property here, Marty, who owns lakefront property?
The Corps of
Nobody.
Engineers.
Right. Yeah, the federal government does. So I mean, I know you get that question all the time, just like I always do, is where can I buy a lakefront property and put a private dock, and I want to be able to clear it to the water so I can see the water from my cottage. I mean, you might as well just go unicorn hunting, because it's really hard to find those. It's really hard,
if not impossible.
Right.
There are some properties that do have a clear shot to the water, but it's because it's the way it occurred naturally. You can't do anything, as far as clearing or anything like that. And it's a double-edged sword. The owners of the property, it can be kind of aggravating. You have a lakefront property, which the definition here means you butt up to the Army Corps of Engineer line, and whatever that is, however dense or thin it may be, and you can't do anything about it. So like I said, it's a double-edged sword. You want to be able to clear to the water, but because you can't, it keeps the lake beautiful. So when you're out on the water, it's about the conservation of the shoreline, and it's gorgeous. Our lake is absolutely pristine. And you go to some of the lakes that are just even in the northern part of the state that don't have these regulations, and the shoreline is crowded and congested, and there's boats and things all over it. It doesn't have the visual appeal at all that this one does, and they're overcrowded, to be honest.
Like
This
the
one,
Ozarks.
well, I wasn't going to name names, but
I don't want to point at fingers here, but I mean, this is a great example here. I mean, this is what most of the lakefront looks like by boat. It looks like this, because you're not allowed to clear all the trees down in the water. And they do that for a variety of reasons. I mean, the main reason is for not irrogation. What's the word I'm looking for? Conservation. Also for erosion, to control erosion. Yeah. So there's even, like, when you get a lakefront property that joins the Army Corps take line, you can apply for what's called a vegetation permit. That allows you to clear underbrush and saplings within a certain diameter. But then part of that, if you're in the right spot, you can be approved for what they call a path permit. So they'll let you clear a 6-foot wide meandering path to the water. It can't be a straight shot. It's got to be like a snake, through your property. And the reason for that is for erosion control. They don't want you to clear a path and then have all that mud and silt and everything washed down to the water every time it rains. So there's some method behind the madness there. So another thing, Marty, that you were talking about, earlier, was all the festivals and stuff that we have here. I mean, can you touch on that?
Yeah. And I don't know if we've mentioned specifically Silver Dollar City. It's a really big theme park that's in the area. It is another draw for the area. It's a big reason that people come here. People of all ages, because there's something for all ages at the theme park. And they are getting ready to expand, which is even more sign of growth in this area, because this park's been here a long time, and they are underway with a massive addition. They're going to build an entire different theme park adjacent to the one that they have, with plans for a third theme park down the future. So if there's any question about the area expanding, I think that would answer it, because they would not be doing that if there was a hint that this area was declining. So having said all of that, and it's because the park is open, 10 months out of the year, 9.5, 10 months out of the year. There's festivals all through the year, and especially at the fall, there's a harvest festival. They have different international festivals. There's different types of food festivals, different music festivals. They have a gospel music festival, bluegrass festival. I think they even do a blues festival now. All kinds of things to draw different types of people into the area. And it goes all the way up until Christmas time, which starts November 1st. The festivals are primarily in the fall out at the park, but they do have festivals all summer long. And actually, the whole area does. And right up until, like I said, right until we get to Christmas, which begins, well, okay, here we are with veterans, just another great attraction for the area. Primarily in November, Veterans Day is always November 11th, but primarily in November, we see a lot of veterans, a lot of veteran groups have their reunions here. We always have a massive parade. There's always big artists that come to town and have big concerts and things, all in honor of the veterans. It's an annual event. Veterans are in and out of the area all year long, but it's a really heavy presence in November, in which it brings in a lot of people that come and support veterans, families of veterans, just all kinds of people coming to celebrate that.
Very cool. Car shows, you said, were a big thing here too. I've noticed a
Oh,
lot of
yes.
that.
Yep.
A lot of
We
car
always have
shows.
down at the convention center too, down by the landing. They seem to be down there. They have car shows with, it's always kind of fun. They'll have the late night parades, and sometimes they'll even shut down the entire strip, like at 11 o'clock at night, and have these really cool cars. The different car shows that are represented have this massive parade. And I've been to those, and sometimes they're like 2 hours long with all the cars that tour up and down the main drag, the main strip of the area. But yeah, that brings in a lot of people, primarily in the fall when they do these car shows.
Cool. Other development in the area, I always point to the stuff that Johnny Morris is doing, so
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Morris is the owner of Bass Pro Shops. They recently acquired Cabela's a few years ago. He's he's local here. He lives in the area, and he's one of the biggest developers in Southwest Missouri and now North Arkansas too. So one of the coolest attractions, just about 10 minutes outside of Branson, that this is like my go-to whenever people come from out of town for the first time, is I bring them to Top of the Rock. So Top of the Rock is this just breathtaking, outdoor, I guess you call it a day resort. I don't know what you really call it. I mean, they've got a driving range. They've got the self-guided golf cart tour that you can take that, takes you over these cool bridges that go over canyons. And at one point you go into a cave, and like as soon as you pull in the cave, there's a cash bar, and the guy sells you a drink, and you think that's the last thing a resort would want to do is feed a bunch of people booze while they're driving their golf carts through a cave. But I mean, it works. People like it. But I've always thought this place is just too cool, and then you wrap up the end of this tour, and you take a shuttle bus back to what is just like the most breathtaking sunset view over Table Rock Lake, with really beautiful accommodations and a restaurant and bar. And they do this nightly sunset celebration every night, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. As the sun is setting over, below Table Rock Lake, they bring out a bagpiper. Everyone raises their glass to toast the end of the day, and then they shoot off a cannon right as the sun is cresting below the horizon of the lake. Super cool.
Yeah, very.
But he's doing a lot of stuff in the area. I mean, he's got Big Cedar Lodge. This is Thunder Ridge Amphitheater that he just finished the first phase of late last year. So it's all in the same area. This is in Ridgedale, Missouri, 10 minutes south of Branson. So this amphitheater, and this is a picture of it when they were still working on it last summer. It overlooks Table Rock Lake. They had their first kind of rollout concert October of last year, and they hosted Garth Brooks, and it was insane. It was pandemonium. I mean, it shut down the highway in 5 or 6 miles in every direction, and it was nuts. So, what were the numbers? Did you hear the numbers on that, Marty? Didn't they bring out like 24,000 people one of the days?
Oh yeah, I think every day they had that. Yeah, it was just insane, and they're expanding it, aren't they?
Yeah, I think the final development plan was for 50,000 seats.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So the 23,000 shut down the road, so they're going to double that. But I mean, I remember immediately after they cleaned up that show last October, they started tearing up Highway 86 and adding additional lanes. So things progress quickly when it seems like when Johnny Morris is trying to do something and he finds out there's a problem, the infrastructure changes very quickly. So the same thing happened with the golf courses. So that was another cool thing we forgot to put on here was Paynes Valley Golf Course. So Johnny Morris did a joint venture with Tiger Woods a few years ago, and developed these PGA level gorgeous golf courses, again 10 minutes south of Branson. So they're making a big push for this to become a golfing destination as well. But I remember hearing the same thing kind of happen when they rolled out this golf course. You know, the roads weren't wide enough. They didn't have enough, you know, amenities, bathrooms, this, that. I mean, this whole area, this is all next to the Branson airport. Just it's just expanded leaps and bounds since I've been here in the last 6 years. So really cool stuff. What
Yeah, and
about
they have,
go ahead.
no, I was gonna say they have big tournaments here every year too, two or three. Tigers in at least a couple times every year
Oh yeah.
with big tournaments on this course and other courses too.
And the backdrop is just unbelievable. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not even a golfer, but I want to like be someone's caddy for a day just so I can walk around out here.
yeah.
What about North Arkansas, Marty? You've been doing a lot of stuff down by the Buffalo River lately.
Yes, I have. And that's a credit again to Johnny Morris. He bought an old theme park. This had been shuttered for probably maybe what, 12, 15 years at least. I
Mhm.
remember when it was active, but it was Dogpatch USA, and it's right on Highway 7, just south of Harrison before you get to the Jasper, Arkansas area. And he bought the theme park, and he's since purchased two or three old resorts that were also just kind of sitting idle, or maybe they've been boarded up. Just bought a big footprint down there and started a massive development. The strict details are a little bit unknown, but it's going to mirror very much what he's done in Branson. It's a lot has a to me it has a feel like what Big Cedar and Dogwood Canyon have. It's going to have elements, I think, of both down there. I know this, whatever Johnny Morse does, will be first class and it will be top notch. But he's in the process of that right now. He's, I would say, probably 50, 60% in to the development that he's doing at Dogpatch, which is bringing a lot of attention to the Jasper area. The Walton family, the family that owns all the Walmart stores, have also invested down here, and they're developing as well. Now, some of their development is going to be for in-house private use for their corporation, but some of it that's coming in the very near future will be for the public as well. So there's a vacation area down there that's been there for decades, and it's one of those generational things that kind of like it's exactly like Branson is. People come, they bring their kids, and then they bring their kids, and pretty soon you got 3 or 4 generations coming at a time. Well, that's what's happening in the Buffalo National Park area. People come there to float the buffalo. It's got a big, long trail all the way through the state. The Little Buffalo is also down there, another big river that is a tributary that's also very popular. The Arkansas Grand Canyon. It's just gorgeous scenery, gorgeous views, but hiking, biking trails. There are ATV parks. There's a huge elk reserve over by Ponca that was set up years and years ago. It's just great nature events, things for people to come see and do. Very much an outdoors type vacation. It's the vacation area kind of pulls from the Bentonville, Rogers area, but they also pull from Tulsa, Dallas, Fort Worth, Memphis, Little Rock, quite a few metro areas around. And people come there to unplug and just sit back, go at a very slow pace. Like I said, they've been doing it for decades. But now that Johnny's developing down there, it's got a new awareness going on for investors that are moving in. There's hardly any restrictions. So it makes it a kind of an investor's dream to buy an existing property or buy land and build. With no restrictions, you can, make it an STR property. You can do RV, sites, camping, glamping. Kind of the sky's the limit. If you're outside the Jasper city limits or any of the real major city limits, there aren't any restrictions that I've seen.
And surprisingly, really great infrastructure. I mean, this whole area has traditionally been very impoverished. And I think it was shortly before COVID hit. Isn't that what you were hearing, Marty, when they put fiber optic and city water through all this?
Yes, yeah, they were able to get some grants. Almost the entire county of Newton County has city water and the fiber optic either in place or on the horizon to be delivered to the different addresses. And it's kind of cool. They made use of those government grants, and now it's easy to get anything built out there. Utilities are just within arm's reach.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And just to give perspective, so the area is talking about Jasper, Dogpatch, Ponca, all the way out to St. Joe, the Buffalo River here. It's about an hour and a half south of the Branson market. So I mean, it's its own market. It's not part of the Branson market at all.
Right.
But it's close,
Yeah.
and people
Go ahead.
will, yeah, I was just going to say, like, all of my personal rental properties are right here in Omaha, just 20 minutes south of Branson. And I get a good number of guests that And I put in my guest book, we're this close to this trail and this trail and this trail on the Buffalo, and we get a lot of our guests that make their way down here, and spend a day. It's a really cool area, and this Northwest Arkansas region, this Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, Fayetteville, that has become the number one demographic that's traveling not just to the Buffalo River but also to Branson, because they've grown in population so dramatically over the last 10 years. And it's a lot of high earning jobs too. So it's a good demographic that you want to have within an hour and a half of your vacation rentals. That's been very helpful also.
Yeah.
So yeah, talking about the Buffalo National River, it's just like Marty was saying, it's absolutely gorgeous. So it's all kinds of, floating and backpacking and hiking and, whatever you want to do. And then, obviously you mentioned Dog Patch, but it's also right up to the Ozark National Forest. So if you go just south of the Buffalo River, you've got thousands of acres of national forest here as well. So this becomes not just an added attraction for those people that want to do the kind of off-grid hiking experiences, but also for ATV riding. So ATV, UTV, off-roading, rock climbing, and all kind of fun stuff. That's a big draw in the area too. And up until recently, this was kind of the closest area to do it in the Branson market. But we actually just within the last month or two got a 1,000-acre ATV park that has done their soft open. They're getting ready to open formally to the public, and that is located in Ridgedale, right here on the other side of the airport. So this is the Branson Airport, and then this ATV park. I think it's called Turkey Creek Off-Road Park. It's located right here. So it's about 10-15 minutes south of Branson. It's about 10-15 minutes from the state line where we're at too. So we're really excited to check that place out too. That's just one more cool amenity that we're getting in the area.
Yeah, another attraction.
As far as occupancy, expectations for daily rates, I mean, that's kind of all over the place for our market, to be honest with you. Marty, what are you seeing for this, or how do you explain the swing between, daily rates, occupancy between one unit and another? I mean, we talked about this before we jumped on the call. Like, do we even mention pricing? Because, there's a big swing. 1-bedroom condo is going to do different than a 1-bedroom cabin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then it's like the old adage is location, location, location. You get a 1-bedroom in one part of the area and it may not do well. Maybe, just maybe breaking even. You get another one somewhere else that's killing it, maybe making 30-40%. It's about the location is where they are. We are seeing what I'm seeing anyway from owners and from other clients. Some of the larger cabins, like the 10, 12 bedrooms, even 9 and 10 bedrooms, aren't as busy as some of the ones that are from like 2 to 5 bedrooms. It seems to be they seem to be staying occupied more often in longer periods of time. I don't know if it's because there's a saturation of the giant units or not, but that's some of the feedback I'm getting from people.
Yeah. I can see that. And, and to touch on that point, actually, I'm glad you mentioned the term saturation, Marty, because we didn't even talk about that before the call.
Right.
I think that's a really easy one to address. And it all goes back to the restrictions and regulations that we have here, which is another thing we forgot to even mention in our little outline. So the Branson market is heavily restricted. So you can't just go on Zillow or realtor.com and pick, a really cool house with a view and put it on Airbnb. In 2018, they dropped the hammer on that. Now there's county and city restrictions on this type of use. So, and we can get into the weeds on a call, with an individual prospective client on this a lot easier. I don't want to bore people on these points, but basically what it boils down to, if it's zoned residential in Southwest Missouri in Stone and Taney County, you can't do it. So everything you're seeing here for all these active rentals, the vast majority of them are going to be condos. Most, I'd say, 75-80% of our inventory, Marty, is condo in some way, shape, or form. So, so that's where, if you look at these AirDNA statistics and you see 52% average, $190 a night average, that is a little watered down because there's a lot of condominium units in the mix here. And not only that, a lot of these units that are approved for vacation rental, they're not 100% investment properties for people. This is very much a second home and a retirement home destination as well. So a lot of people that purchase properties here, they use them all summer long and then they'll put them on Airbnb or VRBO or whatever, for when they don't want to use them. So if you look at this one in particular, I just landed on a random one. It says it's got 76 days available on its calendar. So obviously it's not open year round, for whatever reason. But apparently in those 76 days, they're 95% occupied. So, you take all this data with a grain of salt, and we're happy to share our AirDNA logins with anyone that wants to use it and do some research on their own. But if you look too at our total active vacation rental inventory in the Branson market, just over 4,000. We get just over 10 million visitors per year. And here's how I always answer this, the question on saturation. We get 10 million visitors per year. We have 4,200 rentals. The Smokies gets 12 million visitors per year. They've got 12,000 rentals at the moment. So the market in the Smoky National Park region has been more or less unrestricted for the most part. Some of those counties are starting to bring in their own restrictions. But throughout COVID and all the boom that happened after it, people were building as fast as they possibly could in those markets. I looked at the new construction inventory for the Branson market in, I think it was 2022 for what we did for the year. We added about 420 units in fiscal year 2022. So for the 10 million guests that we get every year, 400 units added to the inventory is not very much. But like I said, a big part of that is you can't just buy a big piece of lakefront property and put 100 homes on it, not to do, short-term rental.
Right.
And then same thing, if you're looking at analytics for the Buffalo National River, it's kind of hard to pull hard, solid data on this because it's just gotten popular so quickly over the last couple of years in terms of, high producing STR properties. But there's some up and down here, in particular in Jasper, that you'll just see some crazy occupancy numbers and daily rates. I mean, this one I just landed on is, it looks like it is a full-time rental. It says 353 days available. They're averaging $671 a night as 93% occupied with a 3-bedroom house that sleeps 12 people. But you look at the details and it's on acreage and it's private and it's got, I'm sure it's got spectacular views. So, it's just kind of different market to market. So,
yeah. Another unique thing, sorry, Ryan, another unique thing about the Jasper area, it's the vacation area, the destination area is so spread out. It's like almost anywhere you found a property down there, it could be successful because wherever you are, you're never more than 20, 30 minutes away from the attractions, from anything that's down there. Branson is a little more focused and localized from like the city of Branson, the Silver Dollar City, as far as being the hub of the vacation area. Whereas down in Arkansas, in the Jasper area, it is spread out all over the county, north and south, east and west. So it makes it a wider area to get a really good rental property.
Yeah, no, that's something that's always intrigued me about that, the Buffalo River area too, Marty. Like, I've been looking at that for years. Like, is it getting ready to boom? Is it getting ready to crash? Because there's nothing really down there, in terms of, I mean, when you mention amenities, you're talking about the river and hiking and biking and all the natural stuff. But there's not a whole bunch in terms of restaurants or shopping or anything along those lines. Not like you'd point to in the Branson market and say, oh yeah, this is doing really well because it's close to Silver Dollar City and it's close to Dolly Parton, it's close to the Strip and this and that. Down there it's just, no, it's doing well because it's pretty, because you've got a deck with a view that goes on for 20 miles, which is kind of a head scratcher, when you're looking at all the data and you're looking at, all these comparable properties. It's like a completely different set of analytics for the Buffalo River versus the Branson market.
Right, you're exactly right. And the vacationer that goes there, there's a lot of easily attainable information to find the mom and pop restaurants, the mom and pop shops that are around in the little towns there I've been to a few, and they're just killer, and that they spread by word of mouth. It's just, that everybody likes to keep it, under their hat and refer it to their friends, these really good restaurants and shops and things like that. But in my opinion, I think as Johnny develops his area and as the profile of this area gets higher and higher and the more notoriety, I think we're going to see other restaurants, other things move in to the area to capitalize on the people that are going to start coming to the area. I mean, it's truly an emerging market in my opinion, just seeing what I see Johnny doing down there and see what he's already done in Branson. So you know the end result's going to be very similar,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
far as the development down there. So I think it's a good thing.
I agree. Yeah, I've told people for the last year or two that I think the Buffalo National River region is probably one of the, if not the biggest emerging markets in the Midwest. And you can still get land relatively affordably down there. You know, everything's relative now, you know, when you say
Yeah.
affordability, but you know, you can get a big piece of acreage down there with the
Mhm.
potential for multiple build sites, and you can get it for what, a few $100,000 for a
Yes.
good sized piece of acreage.
Yeah, and
Um,
everybody's worried about restrictions, and the people that I talk to that live down there, and if they may be second or third generation families down there, they don't want restrictions. They want to be able to do whatever they want with their property. They are really holding tight to that. Now, some of the smaller cities, like Jasper itself, they'll pass city ordinances to regulate STR rentals inside the city limits. But
mhm,
outside the city limits, which is 95% of the vacation area, they don't want restrictions down there.
yeah.
It's they see the benefit of having the vacation traffic down there.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, this has been pretty good. Is there anything we didn't touch on that we need to?
I'm sure we'll think of it as soon as we hang up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it'd be interesting when we can figure out a way to really track some of the numbers a little bit better in North Arkansas. As exciting as it is to watch that growth and the development, there is still a lot of catching up to do in terms of infrastructure and systems and all that. To the point where most of these properties that we deal with, you know, in the Jasper region, anywhere around the Buffalo River, they don't even have a 911 system, like 911 address system. So
Yeah,
it's like just trying
yeah,
to find the house. It's like, I don't know. It's interesting. You know, it's
yeah. That's a good
very,
word for it. It's
yeah,
it's different. They're working on it, but it's they've initiated a system. It's just not recognized like by GPS or
right.
some of the
Yeah.
other things, and it makes it difficult when you try to search.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, they got these high producing, you know, 6-figure income earning cabins out there, but you need to take a left at the willow tree, look for the dog tied up to the corner, and make sure you don't go over the second creek on the right to get there. That's like
exactly,
it's like the directions you need to give your guest. So,
pretty much.
yeah, yeah. But they're getting there. They'll get there. So,
Oh yeah.
so yeah. So if anyone ever has questions, reach out to Marty and myself. You know, Marty's a wealth of knowledge, not just in the Branson market, but also in North and North Central Arkansas. And we're also trying to collaborate together on some new construction development projects. We're trying to source land just outside the Branson area where there are no restrictions, and put together some unique custom builds that we think will do really well, you know, in the Branson market here, and just moving forward into North Arkansas. So,
Yep.
uh, we'll put contact information and stuff like that here in the video. And like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to Marty or myself.
That's right. Thanks for watching.